Hello. In this video, we are going to trace tables using pseudocode. Tracing tables or use of trace tables is a powerful idea if you want to find errors in a program. It's also used in the event you want to figure out what a given program is doing. So it's a very good diagnostic tool. I have here with me pseudocode and corresponding trace tables. I will use the trace table to figure out what is happening in the given pseudocode. And let's do this together. Our pseudocode says begin. The instruction begin does not change anything in our variables. So we don't write anything in our trace table. Then the next instruction says input mark 1 followed by mark 2. In this case, the user gave us mark 1 to be 60 and mark 2 to be 80. We can as well just ignore writing the values afterwards. It's not necessary. The next instruction is this one. Average is equal to mark 1 plus mark 2 divided by 2. So average, we find it's 70. Then we display average. Well, the display is going to be 70. That's our trace table. Now, what did we just do? We were tracing or checking the changes which were happening to variables. And we were writing them down. For example, mark 1, we were writing down any change happening to mark 1, any change happening to mark 2, AVG, and we also wrote down the output. Now, the average of 60 and 80 is 70. And our program is actually displaying, as shown by our trace table, this is all according to our plan. This program is working well and there are no problems here. Another trace table here using the if statement. We begin our program, there is no change which happens to our variables. By the way, you also need to know your variables. In this program, there are two variables, score and grade. Then we have a single output. Now, input score, what did the user give us? 35. How do we know the user gave us 35? I just made up that number. If the score is greater than or equal to 50, then grade is equal to pass. Otherwise, grade becomes fail. Well, according to this, we get a false. The condition gives us a false, so this is not going to run, this is going to run. So grade is set to fail. Then we end if we display grade. We are going to display fail. That's our trace table using pseudocode. I'll look for one more example where there is some iteration. This is a good one. We begin our program. The word begin doesn't change any of our variables, so you will see nothing happens here. Total equal to 0, total is set to 0, that is the first line here, total equal to 0. For count starting at 1, 2, 3, so count is being set to 1. We then say total equal to old total plus plus count. New total is assigned a value of old total plus count. Count is 1, so total is going to become 0 plus 1, so total becomes 1. The for loop ends here, but remember the for loop only ends after 3 iterations. So we go back again. Count is automatically moved from 1 to 2. That's what the for loop does. So count is now 2. We begin the for loop, total equal to old total plus count. So the old total is 1. We can see that here in our loop, in our test table, and count is 2. We can see that right here. So 1 plus 2, we get 3. So total becomes 3. We end the iteration, the for loop, and since we have not iterated 3 times, we go back. The count is now 3. We say total equal to old total plus 3. So we are now looking at 3 plus 3, we get 6. And we go to display total, we're displaying 6 here. All right, so that's how our program works. There's a lot of some instructions which I would prefer if they were not there, because they kind of confused. There are too many. But yeah, that's how our trace table works. I'm going to share some other examples. You can pause the video and test out the filling of the trace table.